thinking about getting into farming,
Mm-hmm.
but which animal is going to be your golden ticket?
Right.
We're tackling that question today.
Okay.
Based on this YouTube video by FarmUp.
Mm-hmm.
This doctor turned farmer in Uganda walks us through his experience raising
Wow.
cattle, goats,
Wow.
sheep, pigs, even chickens.
So he's done it all.
He's done it all.
Interesting.
And what I thought was really cool was he didn't just give us like a list of pros and cons. He tied it to his experiences in Uganda.
That's what I found so interesting is like, how does the climate play a role? The local market, all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you said, the local market. So let's start with his experience raising cattle.
Okay.
He had a herd of 150, mostly for milk production.
150 head of cattle, that sounds
Impressive.
very impressive. But he really paints a picture of what that actually requires
Yeah.
in terms of resources, especially in Uganda's climate.
Yeah, he mentioned that even with his 400 acres, he felt the strain on his resources.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Mhm.
In that environment, cattle need
Oh.
vast grazing land,
Yeah.
access to plenty of water,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all going to impact your bottom line.
And it's not just about the land and water. He talks about the medication,
Right.
the tick prevention, the constant care,
Oh, yeah, just the daily workload.
the daily workload of managing a herd that size.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And on top of all of that,
Yeah.
he points out that milk prices in Uganda are heavily influenced by a handful of large companies.
Oh, wow.
So even if you're producing a lot of milk, getting a fair price can be a real struggle,
Especially for a smaller farm.
especially for a smaller farm.
Yeah, I know.
That makes you think, is it even
Is it even worth it?
worth it if
You
you're
can't get a good price for your product.
exactly
Right.
So maybe cattle aren't the easy path to riches that some people imagine.
Yeah.
But there's another layer to this, right?
Absolutely. He talks about the cultural significance of cattle.
Uh-huh.
You know, in many cultures, they represent wealth and status. So even if the profit margins aren't massive, owning a large herd can bring social standing or influence.
Right. It's a status symbol.
It's a status symbol.
Yeah.
So it's a much more complex picture than simply saying cattle equals profit.
Yeah, it's not just about crunching the numbers. It's about understanding the cultural and social context as well.
Sure.
Okay, so we talked about cattle. Yeah. Which represent a longer-term investment.
You're right.
With potential social benefits. But let's look at goats and sheep.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting how he groups those two together.
It makes sense when you consider his context.
Yeah.
He explains that they graze together on his land. They kind of face similar demands in his local market.
Yeah, and it sounds like in his experience, they're less demanding overall
For sure.
compared to cattle.
He emphasizes that goats and sheep require less space.
Okay,
The feed is less complex, which means lower operating costs.
that could be a major advantage.
Yeah, especially when you're starting out,
Right.
for sure.
And he mentions this really interesting fact about the meat market in Uganda.
Oh, really?
Goat meat is king.
Interesting.
So much so that sheep meat is often sold as goat meat.
Wow.
That's how popular goat meat is.
But wouldn't that depend on the demand in your specific area?
Right.
Like, what if you're in a region where beef is the preferred choice?
Well,
You know, understanding those local preferences is key to choosing the right animals.
That's a great point. It highlights the importance of market research. Now, if we're talking about managing risk,
Okay.
his experience with pigs presents a whole new set of challenges. Okay, hold on.
There's a twist. Oh, good. Our farmer has actually steered clear of pigs altogether.
Really?
Yeah, can you guess why?
Because of swine fever.
Exactly.
He talks about it being a major concern in Uganda.
He describes it as devastating,
Uh-huh.
with no known treatment or vaccine.
That's a risk he's just not willing to take.
It's too much.
It is too much.
Yeah.
And he even draws this parallel, between pigs and chickens. He calls them both high-risk, high-reward scenarios.
Interesting.
It makes you realize that success in farming isn't just about hard work.
Uh-huh.
It's about navigating risks that you can't always control.
You can't always control it.
Can't.
Yeah.
And he really emphasizes the importance of biosecurity,
Oh, yeah.
which essentially means taking all the necessary steps to protect your animals from disease.
Right.
But sometimes,
Sometimes, despite your best effort, there are factors beyond your control.
exactly. And with swine fever, the potential consequences are just too dire.
Yeah, too risky.
So it's a strategic decision to avoid pigs altogether in his situation.
I see his point.
Yeah, so after cattle, goats, and sheep, and taking pigs off the table for now,
Right.
that brings us to the stars of the show.
Oh, the chicken.
You can tell this is where his passion truly lies.
Yeah.
It's clear he's had a lot of success with chickens,
Uh-uh.
even though he admits they're not without their challenges. He's upfront about the fact that chickens can be high maintenance.
Okay.
They are susceptible to diseases, and they require a certain level of technical expertise.
Well, yeah.
But he claims that the rewards are well worth the effort.
Okay, interesting.
He even suggests that you could raise 10,000 chickens in the same space needed for just a few goats,
Wow.
and the potential profits.
That's a lot of chicken.
It is a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
He estimates you could make $8,000 to $10,000 per month.
Wow. Those numbers are pretty impressive.
Those numbers are impressive.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's a catch. All right.
There is.
Okay.
He emphasizes that chickens require a significant upfront investment in housing and equipment.
So while the turnaround is quicker, the profit potential is higher. Yeah. You need to be prepared to invest in that infrastructure up front.
That's right.
Okay.
It's really fascinating how he breaks down the economics of each animal.
Yeah.
He's clearly thinking about not just the day-to-day work, but the long-term financial picture as well.
And it highlights the importance of understanding the financial side of farming.
Right.
It's not just about loving animals, it's about building a sustainable business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered cattle, goats, and sheep,
Yeah.
ruled out pigs for an app,
Right.
and kind of explored the potential of chicken.
Right.
It's interesting to see how each animal kind of fits a different
Yeah.
niche
Yeah.
in the farming landscape.
But what strikes me is like how much of this is specific to his context. Yeah. Like his experiences in Uganda might not directly translate to your situation.
Right, his focus is on the Ugandan market.
Yeah.
But what about your local market?
Right, exactly.
What resources do you have access to? What level of risk are you comfortable with?
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're in an area with limited grazing land, so cattle aren't as feasible. Maybe there's a huge demand for locally sourced eggs. These are all factors you need to consider.
Yeah, and this is where things get really interesting. Yeah, imagine you're in a region with a growing market for organic, pasture-raised pork.
Okay.
Suddenly those pigs start looking a lot more appealing,
Yeah.
even with that swine fever risk.
It's a calculated risk.
It is.
But if you can manage the risk effectively,
Right.
and there's a strong market for your product, it could be a highly profitable venture.
So there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Nope.
It's about matching your resources, your risk tolerance, to the opportunities in your specific area.
In your own context.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And don't forget about regulations.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Are there zoning laws or livestock regulations in your area?
Right, you gotta do your homework.
You have to do your homework.
Yeah.
Make sure you're operating within the legal framework.
Absolutely.
And while we're talking about research,
Yeah.
what about specific breeds?
Oh, that's a great
That
point.
there are certain breeds of animals that are better suited to your climate or market demands.
Yeah. The farmer in the video is focusing on the breeds that are common in Uganda. Right. But those might not be the best options for you.
Right.
It's all about finding the breeds that thrive in your environment and meet the needs of your target market.
So it's a multi-layered process. It is. It's about understanding your market, assessing your resources, managing risk, choosing the right breed. Yeah. And it sounds like there's one more ingredient in this recipe for farming success.
Okay, what's that?
Passion.
Oh, yeah,
This farmer clearly loves what he does.
you can tell.
And you can tell that his passion for chickens in particular is a driving force behind his success.
That's right.
I think that's so crucial in any farming endeavor. Sure, when you're genuinely passionate about the animals you're raising,
Yeah,
it makes the challenges feel less daunting
absolutely.
and the rewards even sweeter.
It's true.
So before you jump into farming, think about
Yeah.
which animals genuinely excite you. Which ones would you be happy to work with day in and day out?
Because let's face it, farming is hard work.
Yeah.
There are long days, unexpected challenges, sometimes setbacks.
Yeah,
But if you're driven by a genuine passion for what you're doing,
yeah.
it makes all the difference.
So far, we've focused on raising animals for meat and milk production.
Right.
But what about other agricultural opportunities?
Oh, that's a good point.
Could that change the equation?
That's a fantastic point. There's a whole world of possibilities beyond just raising animals for food. Think about fiber production, like wool from sheep or alpaca fleece. Yeah. You could explore the world of agritourism.
Right. Farm tours, educational
The
experiences.
possibilities are endless.
They are
And those
endless.
alternative paths might be better suited to your interests, resources, and market, for sure.
Totally. And even within the realm of traditional livestock farming, yeah, there's room for specialization and niche markets.
Absolutely. You could focus on heritage breeds, organic practices, direct-to-consumer sales. Yeah, it's about finding your unique selling proposition and creating a brand that resonates with your target audience.
So maybe you become known for producing the highest quality, ethically raised grass-fed lamb in your region. Or maybe you build a thriving business selling farm fresh eggs directly to local restaurants and bakeries. The key is to identify a need in your market and find a way to fill it. And who knows, maybe you'll even discover a whole new agricultural passion along the way. So this deep dive had been incredibly insightful. You can't learn so much from this Ugandan farmer's experience.
His insights about cattle, goats, sheep, pigs, and chickens have given us a solid foundation. But more importantly, his story highlights the importance of adapting these lessons to our own unique context.
We've explored the importance of market research, resource assessment, risk
Finding
management.
the right breeds.
Finding the right breeds. But beyond all that, it's about finding your passion within the vast world of agriculture. The way this deep dive has equipped you with the knowledge and the inspiration, me to embark on your own farming journey.
Whatever form that may take.
Whatever form that may take, remember there's no single right answer. It's all about finding the perfect fit for you, your goal, and the market you want to serve.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And most importantly, never stop learning, adapting, and exploring the incredible world of agriculture.
It's an amazing world out there.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. Our farmer focused on raising livestock. But what if you took a different approach? Instead of raising animals, what if you focused on cultivating something else?
Okay.
Exactly. There's a whole world of possibilities within crop production. Staple grains to specialty fruits and vegetables. The options are so diverse.
And just like with livestock, you have to understand your local climate, soil conditions, market demands. What grows well in one region might not thrive in another.
And there are so many fascinating niches within crop production. Imagine specializing in organic heirloom tomatoes.
Cool.
Or cultivating rare varieties of mushrooms. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe you could tap into that growing demand for locally sourced, sustainable ingredients for restaurants and farmers markets.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
There is. There's something really satisfying about nurturing a seed and watching it transform into a bountiful harvest.
It's a connection to the land and the natural cycles of growth. It's fulfilling. Yeah.
It is. So whether you're drawn to the challenges and rewards of raising livestock, or maybe the quiet satisfaction of tending a garden, there's a place for you in the world of agriculture.
I think that's a good point. You know, you don't have to limit yourself to just one path. Maybe you combine livestock and crop production. Create a diversified and resilient farm system.
That's a great point. Imagine raising chickens for eggs and using your manure to fertilize your garden. It's like a closed-loop system. Sustainable,
Very
efficient.
Cool. And it kind of highlights the interconnectedness of all things in nature. Yeah. You know, by understanding and working with those connections, we can create farming systems that are not only productive, but also beneficial to the environment.
Absolutely. Though this deep dive has really opened our eyes to the incredible diversity with opportunities within agriculture. We've explored the complexities of livestock farming, the potential of alternative paths, and really the importance of finding your own unique niche.
I think the doctor-turned-farmer in Uganda, his insights have given us a really valuable framework for evaluating the different options, understanding the factors that contribute to success.
Right. And his story reminds us that farming is more than just a business. It's a way of life, a connection to the land, an opportunity to create something meaningful and sustainable. Yes.